Hello guys, welcome to another video. In today's video I'm gonna talk about Neuvillette, how to build him, what are the best artifacts and weapons for him, and how to get maximum damage from him. So let's begin. So Neuvillette is a 5-star catalyst user who serves the role of a hydro DPS. He scales off his HP to deal damage. Now let's discuss his talents. Okay, so for normal attacks, he does a 3-stack attack which doesn't deal a lot of damage, so you will probably not go to use it. His main kit comes from his charge attack, where he does an hydro pump charge attack which deals a ton of damage. Now this charge attack does takes up quite a bit to charge up. We'll see how to reduce the time in the skill and burst. Now his charge attack doesn't consume stamina, however if you cancel the charge attack midway, it will consume some stamina. Also, while doing the charge attack, Neuvillette does loses HP to deal more damage. So you also need to heal Neuvillette, but thankfully he can heal himself, and we're going to discuss about that in his skill and burst. Moving on to his elemental skill. When he uses his skill, he deals an AoE hydro damage and drops 3 water droplets. Now these water droplets are very important for Neuvillette. So when you use his skill and get the droplets and then use charge attack, he will absorb those droplets, do an instant charge attack without charging up first. This way you can do an instant charge attack rather than waiting for a long time to charge your charge attack. Now these droplets also heal Neuvillette. When you consume them, Neuvillettes get healed up, and then using the charge attack he loses the HP. So it's a very good way to heal your Neuvillette from the HP loss of the charge attack. Now Neuvillette absorbs 3 of these droplets to do a charge attack. So whenever you use his skill, you will get 3 of those droplets and he will absorb all of them to do a charge attack. But we can increase the droplets using his elemental burst. Moving on to his elemental burst. His elemental burst also deals a massive amount of AoE hydro damage, and it generates 6 droplets, which means you can do charge attack 2 times. So you can use his elemental burst and elemental skill to generate 9 particles, and you can do 3 charge attack instantly. So moving on to his first passive, in which when a character in the party triggers any hydro related reaction, Neuvillette will get past Draconic Glory stacks. Now this stacks can be up to 3 stacks, and each stack will going to increase his charge attack damage. For 1 stack you will get around 110% increase charge attack damage, for 2 stack 125%, and for 3 stack 160%. Now keep in mind, to get all the 3 stacks you need to have 4 different elemental characters in your team. That means Neuvillette will be the hydro character, and the all other 3 characters should be of different element, or else you will not get the 3 stacks. Now for his second passive, Neuvillette will get more hydro damage bonus from his HP, and a maximum of 30% of hydro damage bonus can be increased in this way. And for his third passive, it is for underwater exploration. So when you are using Neuvillette, he and his party member will have 15% increased sprint speed, so you can explore underwater more faster. Hello, 1, 2, 3. Now Neuvillette is a very good DPS as C0, but his constellation does makes him more better. So we're gonna look at his constellation to find out which one are the ones you should target for and which one you shouldn't. Now his C1 is very good, as it gives 1 stack of past Draconic Glories by default. So that means you need to have at least 2 different elemental characters rather than hydro in your team. So if you are running a Neuvillette team with like Farina or any other hydro character, you can run 2 hydro character, which is Neuvillette and any other hydro character like Farina, and you have to put any 2 other elemental characters and you will still get the 3 stacks. But that's not all. His C1 also increases his interruption resistance. That basically means when he uses charge attack, any enemy cannot bonk him. When he uses his charge attack, any enemy cannot bonk him out of his charge attack, which is really helpful because at C0 if an enemy attacks, your Neuvillette gets bonked and his charge attack gets cancelled, which is very annoying. For that you need to run a shielder character like Zhongli or Layla, but if you have C1 you don't need a shielder character, you can just use him and he will not get bonked. Now his C2 is also very good because it increases your crit damage per past Draconic Glory stack. So each stack you get, it will also increase your crit damage, and it can be increased up to maximum of 42, which is very helpful. Now C3 increases his normal attack level by 3. So if you crown his normal attack, you will get level 15, and which is very nice because his charge attack does count as a normal attack. So if you have C3, it will increase your Neuvillette's damage. Now in C4, whenever your Neuvillettes get healed, a droplet will be generated, which is good. So you will have more droplets to do another charge attack. Now this effect can occur every 4 seconds, which is short, so it is also nice. So you can get another charge attack. His C5 increases his elemental burst by 3, so you can get maximum level 15. Now his C6 is also very good because every time you collect a droplet, Neuvillette's charge attack duration will be increased by 1 second, but also with C6 he will deal additional hydro damage by firing 2 extra currents, so which is also good for his DPS kit. Now if you talk about the best constellations, I will say it is C1, C2 and C3 because they are easier to get because they are in the very first, and I would recommend you the best constellation would be C1 because it is achievable by most of the players, and his C1 does makes a lot of difference. So C1 is the best constellation you can get, but if you can spend more primos, you can also get C2 or C3. Now moving on to the weapons, the best weapon for him is his signature weapon, Tome of Eternal Flow, because it gives him a very high crit damage of 88%, which is very helpful, but also its passive help him a lot. So in his passive, his HP gets increased by 16% when using a charge attack, which does helps because the more HP you have, the more damage Neuvillette does, but it also increases his charge attack damage by 14% for 4 seconds, and it can be stacked, and you can have max of 3 stacks. That means you can have a maximum of 42% increase of charge attack damage. But that's not it. This weapon also helps in generating energy particles, which is very helpful because his energy requirement is high. Although he can generate energy more faster, it is still helpful. So this is the very best weapon you can get for him. Although if you are F2P or you don't want to pull on the weapon banner, there are very good free options are available. Okay, so for his best F2P weapon, we have the prototype Amber, which is a Liyue craftable weapon, so you can very easily get it. It gives him an HP percentage boost, which increases his HP and which is very necessary for Neuvillette to give more damage. It passives help with his energy regeneration, which is also good, and also it heals all the party members including Neuvillette, which we know is very good on him because he does loses HP while doing charge attack. So having this can help him regain his HP and do more damage. Now if you are using this weapon, keep in mind that if you want to increase your damage, you can just level him up to level 90 and refinements are not needed. However, I will recommend the refinements because it does help with his energy generation and healing, but it has nothing to do with his damage. For his second F2P best weapon is the Witch Sith. It gives him a very high 55% of crit damage, which is very good on him, and its passives are also good. This weapon have 3 passives. So his first passive gives an attack increase, which is useless on him. However, the next 2 passives are very helpful for him because one increases his elemental damage, which is very helpful, so he can do more damage, and the third passive increases his elemental mastery, which is good for reaction based teams. So if you are using Neuvillette on reaction based teams, it is very good for him because you are directly getting 240 EM, which is more than enough. Now you can also use this event weapon that we got in Atlan. It is not as good as the other weapons, but yeah, it also gives HP stats and it does increases your AoE damage from its passive. So it is good on him, but not the best. Now you can also use the sacrificial chain. It is a battle pass weapon, so you need to pay for it, but it is also a good weapon because it increases his crit rate, which is good for him, and also it increases his HP when not in field. So it is a very good weapon, but again, for this you need to pay. Okay, moving on to artifacts. The best set I will recommend for him is the Mara Chose 100 set. Its 2-piece increases his charge attack damage by 15%, which is really good, and its 4-piece set increases his crit rate by 12% for 5 seconds when his HP decreases or increases, which we know when he uses his charge attack his HP decreases. So it is very good for him. He will get a lot of crit rate. Now you can get maximum of 3 stacks, which is 36% crit rate, and you will easily get hit because Neuvillette will deal charge attack continuously, so you will easily get the 3 stacks. Now there is another set you can use, but I will not recommend it until and unless you don't have the Mara Chose set. So you can use this set until then, which is the Wanderer's Troop. His 2-piece set is not that helpful. It increases elemental mastery, which could be helpful in reaction teams, but it is not that much useful. Its 4-piece set is useful because it increases his charge attack damage by 35%. But again, for this you need a 4-piece set, which is much harder to get than a 2-piece set. So I will only recommend it if you don't have the Mara Chose set. Now for its stats, you will need an HP percentage sands, a hydro damage bonus goblet, or an HP percentage goblet, and a crit rate or crit damage circlet. Now for goblet, hydro damage goblet is the best overall, but you can also use an HP percentage goblet if you want. The hydro damage goblet is slightly better than the HP one, and for circlet you can go with crit rate or crit damage, although I will highly recommend to go with a crit damage until unless you have a low crit rate, because you are going to get around 36% crit rate from the artifact set bonus, so you can focus on crit damage. For substats, focus on HP and crit damage and crit rate as well. If you can get energy, it is also good, but mainly focus on crit and HP. For his overall stats, you need at least 35k HP. 30k is enough, but 35k is the sweet spot. For crit rate, I would suggest go for at least 40% because you are already getting 36 from the set bonus. So if you add it, you will going to get around 70 to 75% crit rate. Try to get at least like 40% crit rate. And for crit damage, I would recommend go for at least 200. Above 200 is more better, but at least 200. And for energy recharge, although he doesn't require that much energy, he can recharge a lot of energy, but I would still say go for at least 120 energy recharge. So for Neuvillette's team comps, he has a lot of team comps you can use. Okay, so first of all, Neuvillette with Freyna. We know that Freyna is one of the best support characters for any DPS, and he works so good with Neuvillette, so you can use Freyna here. Although you will not get all the draconic stacks, but if you have C1 you can still use him, or if you don't have C1 you can still use her. Now the best team currently for Neuvillette is this one with Neuvillette, Freyna, Kazuha and Shilonen. This is the best hyper carry Neuvillette team where all the 3 characters are buffing Neuvillette, and Neuvillette is going to give a ton of damage. However, if you don't have any of the characters, you can use other characters as well. For example, you can use Zhongli here if you have a C0 Neuvillette, because Zhongli can provide a shield so your Neuvillette don't get bogged. And if you don't have Zhongli, you can use Layla here. She is also a pretty good shielder. Or you can use Neuvillette Hyperbloom team, where you can put Nahida and EM Redden or Huki for Hyperbloom reaction. Now you can also use this team, which is a Taser reaction team, where I'm using Kazuha for buff and I'm using Raiden to trigger laser reaction. It is also a good team, especially with the laser reaction getting buffed in this version. You can also use the Vaporize team here, so you can put Shangling and Bennett. Now although Bennett cannot buff Neuvillette because Neuvillette's damage scales of HP not attack, you can use Bennett here to buff Shangling, and Shangling will work as a some DPS. Now what happens if you don't have Freina? You can still do those same teams. You can replace Freina's spot with any other characters. You can use a Hydro character if you want, or you can use another elemental character so that Neuvillette gets all the dragonic stacks to give the maximum damage. So those were some of his team. Now here is a showcase. So that's it for the Neuvillette build guide. Now I have some of the Q&A that you guys might have. That first of all, should you get C1 Neuvillette or Zhongli? Now that totally depends upon you. C1 Neuvillette means you can use him without any shielder, and you can use another Hydro character like Freina with him. But on the other hand, Zhongli can provide shield not only to Neuvillette but to a lot of other teams. So it depends upon you. If you want build character for your other teams, then you can pull for Zhongli, or else you can go for Neuvillette C1. Another question, should we go for the Neuvillette's weapon? I would personally recommend not to pull for Neuvillette's weapon, because this time in the banner you are getting the Vortex Vanquisher, which is Zhongli's weapon, and it is a very trash weapon. Like, no character can use that weapon, and if you are building Zhongli for shield, it doesn't need that weapon. So it is a very risky thing. Pull for Neuvillette's weapon, you might get the Vortex Vanquisher, which is totally useless. So I would recommend not to pull for it, but if you are willing to risk, you can still pull it. And last but not the least, should we use the prototype Amber or the Visith? Now from my test of view, I have seen both of the weapon are very great. The prototype Amber is slightly better than the Visith, although if you want, I can make another video about testing their damage, so you can decide. But if you want a quick answer, I would say go for the prototype Amber. It is good, although the Visith gives you a high crit damage, and it seems that Neuvillette can do a lot of damage, but since his HP is lower, you will not going to get a lot of damage. So the prototype Amber is more better. And that's it for today's video. If you guys have any doubts or any problems, you can ask me in the comments. I will try my best to reply them ASAP, or you can ask me live in my stream. I do stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/SumiGG, and also let me know if you want a Zhongli guide. I can make that if you want. Till then, see ya everyone, bye.